Hi there, and welcome to my video Reclaim Your Time and Energy through the Sadhana of No. Today I'm going to dive in and share with you one of the most powerful transformational practices I teach. It's called the Sadhana of Now. I'm going to share tools with you how to set boundaries and say no to what drains your energy, so you can say yes to yourself, to your goals, to your ambitions, and what's truly important for you. Because saying yes to yourself is the ultimate self-care. So let's dive in. As a mother of two, clinical Ayurvedic specialist, senior yoga teacher and coach, I know the challenge to want to do it all and to juggle it all. I'm sure all of you have that challenge that we want to do everything, but we simply can't. So deciding how you want to prioritize your time and your energy and focus is really the essence and the first step in becoming the person who you want to be and living the kind of life you want to live with the kind of energy and joy you want to live it. So the Sadhana of No becomes a very powerful tool for setting boundaries and prioritizing your own self-care and pursuing your own goals. So what I'm going to share with you in this video is how the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda and Yoga can help you set the appropriate boundaries by understanding more about your own individual constitution and what is draining your energy and distracting your focus, and what is truly helping you to achieve your goals and to nourish yourself. So what we will cover is, I'll explain what sadhana means and why it's so vital for a balanced, focused, purpose-driven life. We'll go deeper into the practice of the Sadhana of No and why it's so essential to set the appropriate boundaries so you can say yes to yourself. And then we'll go into a bit deeper understanding of your own Ayurvedic constitution and how this wisdom can help set the right goals and also the right boundaries. And then I'll show you 5 practical steps that you can apply right away today to reclaim your time, your energy, and focus. Before we dive in, I want to tell you right away, if you like this teaching that I'm teaching with you right now, I encourage you to go ahead and click on the bio and sign up for the free holistic toolkit or for the newsletter Diary of the Mama Yogi, because next week is a very special week. I have an offer for Black Friday and 50% off the course Mama Wonderful 101, Reclaim Your Time, Energy, and Focus as a Busy Mom. Because in this course, I will be diving really deep in all the concepts I'm going to share with you today and much more. And you'll be getting the email next week to look into it a bit deeper and to sign up for 50% off the valued price of the course that I'm going to begin beginning of February 2025, and that I'll be launching in the end of January. So jump on in, become a part of the Mama Yoga community, the newsletter, and grab your sadhana. Is a Sanskrit word and translated means spiritual practice or discipline. It's a daily ritual, daily routines that keep you connected to your truest purpose and your truest self. For me, sadhana has been vital, the most important aspect of my spiritual practices, as when I was, I would say, a professional yogi, really traveling between California and India, mainly focusing on spiritual practices. And then later, when I became a mother, I took these sadhana and they became my lifeline, my lifesaver in these early years of motherhood, juggling 2 little ones, the household work, and this mostly on my own. And sadhana, even up to this day, is a huge part of my routine, of my daily routine. And it's not just what you do additionally. No, sadhana has become a way for me to live life differently, to approach everything I do in life with intention, purpose, and awareness. So from folding the laundry and making a mindful practice out of it, to picking up my kids, cooking the food, how I approach my work, how I approach my client, it's become all of it a form of sadhana, all of it a practice for me to stay calm, to stay rooted in my core principles and values, and to live the purpose I've chosen for myself to live in this lifetime. Because sadhana is not just about stepping on your yoga mat or on your Ayurveda, on your meditation cushion, or writing down self-inquiry. Asana or sadhana really means how you approach everything in life, and how you can bring more awareness, intention, clarity, presence, and purpose into everything you're doing. Now let's talk about the sadhana of now, one of the most powerful and transformative sadhanas I know of. As busy moms or busy humans, we try to do everything. But the reality is, the more we try to do everything, the less we do. And the more we try to please everyone else, the more we say yes to everything and everyone, the less we say yes to ourselves. And the less we enjoy what we are actually doing, because we're so stressed out and overwhelmed of trying to put it all together and figuring it all out and doing all of it, that actually through that stress we lose the enjoyment of it all. And by saying yes to everyone else, we literally say no to ourselves. And I'm sure you know that. You start your day, you've set yourself a few goals, a few tasks, and then you get distracted, then you get diverted. And you've been saying yes, probably, to other people, to other things, emergencies that need you, and you have lost touch with what's truly important for you. So by saying yes because of a feeling of obligation or guilt, or because you're just generally a nice person and like to help everyone else, you've stopped saying yes to yourself and to what you wanted to achieve and reach during that day or that week or that year or in your life as a whole. Yes, so saying no is not a rejection of people, of opportunities. It's a form of respect. It's a form of respect to your own time, your own health, and your own priorities. This is where Ayurveda adds another layer of wisdom. Because by understanding your individual constitution, which in Ayurveda is called Vata, Pitta, Kapha, or a combination of those, you learn to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, what you personally need to keep your focus, to stay balanced, to stay healthy, and to stay well. And Ayurveda really, this wisdom of your own, or this knowledge of your own individual constitution, can help you to understand what is draining me and what gives me energy. So let me give you some examples. A Vata constitution, who tends to be a thin, artistic, fun person, but who's also very curious and who likes to spread her or himself way too thin, a Vata constitution does well with saying no to doing too many things and saying no to overstimulation. Instead, really grounding practice, silence, some time alone and in quiet is really helpful to balance a Vata constitution. So saying no to overstimulation and yes to grounding practice Pitta constitution who is quite fiery, who tends to be a leader, who likes to achieve goals. For Pitta constitution, it's often necessary to say no to overcommitting and to say yes to more rest. And to a Kapha constitution who is very loving and who likes to enjoy life and the pleasures of life, it might be important to say more yes to change and to movement and no to habits that keep you stuck. So when you know more about your constitution, you know better what is helping you, what is strengthening you, what keeps you in balance, and what is draining you, what brings you out of balance, and what can cause then too much of who you are. Can create too much anxiousness for a Vata person, too much heat and over perfectionism and criticism for a Pitta person, or for a Kapha person, too much inertia and being stuck in one place. So to learn about your constitution, you know what's good for you to keep yourself in balance, and it makes it easier to say no to things that you know will bring you out of focus and out of balance. So now let me introduce you to 5 practical steps to reclaim your time and energy today. Let's get practical. The Sadhana of No is really a series of self-inquiries, of intention settings, and decisive action. So let me show you how you can reclaim your time, energy, and focus today. Step number 1 is you want to be clear who you want to become. It's much easier to set boundaries and say no to things and people and commitments if you know who you want to become. What is your ideal of yourself? Where do you want to go? So there, I'll invite you to ask yourself 3 questions. Who do I want to become in 10 to 15 years? What are my values and my priorities that I want to embody? And what does my day, my lifestyle, my relationship, my work look like for the ideal me? And then sit down, grab yourself a cup of tea, close your eyes and visualize yourself in 10 to 15 years. Visualize the person as much in detail as you can. What do you do? How are you in your relationships? How are you with your children? How is your professional life? How is your financial life? The details of your friends, what you want to wear, what's truly important for you, what purpose you want to give, what service you want to give to the world, how you want to be happy and joyful. And then take a notebook and jot it all down. Write it all out. The second step is to really identify what is draining you, what is taking up your time and energy. So sit down and make a list of all the things, commitments, relationship, tasks that feel heavy, draining, unfulfilled, and that leave you dissatisfied. So sit down, take a notebook and ask you, what is draining me? What's not in alignment with myself? Also, if you know a bit more about your Ayurvedic constitution, ask yourself, what is not in alignment? What doesn't keep me balanced? And then write this down. For example, this was the first step for a client of mine who has done this transformational practice, and he really realized he is spending most of his time in the last 10 to 15 years on work. And he allowed the work to take a big priority of his life. All his energy would go there. It would even spill over his personal, private life, which eventually led to a burnout. And so this was his first step, to just realize that he was doing that, and he doesn't want to do it no more because he wants to have more time for things that he enjoys, going out into nature, spending more time with friends, and really pursuing his spiritual goals with yoga and meditation. So his second step was to really realize, where do I need to set boundaries? Can I leave work at the time I'm supposed to leave work, especially if I start really early in the morning? And how can I cut off work and not bring in the chaos from work into my personal and private life. One of the first steps he did was to take off a whole weekend, go camping, spend time in nature, reconnect with himself, recharge the batteries, and then come back and look at the whole situation with a more clear and connected vision of himself and who he wants to be and where he wants to go. The third step is my favorite step, is to focus on the big yes. So by each no you're saying, you are creating a bigger yes, a bigger vision of yourself, a bigger, healthier, more holistic approach to who you want to be. Let me give you examples. For example, by saying no to some social commitments that you don't enjoy going to, you're saying a big yes to more quality time with your family and friends, and a bigger yes to some work project or creative project that you want to do for yourself. For example, a mother just told me recently she had so many social commitments that she ran out and she got sick and she was totally drained and she would never do this again. For example, also saying no to letting your schedule spill, with work commitments and other commitments. By saying no, you're saying a big yes to yourself, to your self-care, to your own personal and spiritual time that you need for yourself. I had a very interesting client, let's call her Nina, a few years ago. And as we talked about the Sadhana of No, she said, Verena, it's not just about saying no to other people and other commitments and tasks. It's a lot about saying no to myself. And I said, oh, that's interesting. Tell me more about it. And she said, well, I get so perfectionistic about a few things. So when I get started, I lose myself completely in it. And I don't stop before it's not perfect. But then I look up and it's 5 o'clock and I haven't even eaten. I haven't even showered. I haven't done the calls. I haven't prepared dinner. And I have to rush out to pick up my child. And this feels really stressful for me because I haven't done all the other tasks. So for herself, and I think it's a lot of us, we need to learn to say no to ourselves, to our perfectionistic streak. So we are not cutting short on everything else and that get really stressed about it. And she also said something else, which is really great, which brings me to the next point. Sometimes we have to say no to enjoyable things. Like she said, Verena, I'd really like to lose some weight. But you know what my problem? I love sweets so much. I love sugar so much. And I just need to have something sweet after every meal. So we decided, it's okay to have some dessert once in a while after a meal, but not every day and not after every meal. So saying no to sugar really means saying yes to herself, to how she wants to feel instead of drained. She wants to feel energized, and how she wants to look instead of, not quite the way she feels right. She wants to be her perfect self or the way she feels good at. So saying no to sugar is saying a big yes to herself, her health, and the way she wants to feel and look like. The next step, the fourth step, is to really communicate clearly your boundaries. So you can be clear, you can be precise, and yet still friendly. Let me give you an example. You can say to a friend who is inviting you and you just really have something important to finish, you can say, you know what, it is really nice that you think of me, that you invite me. That's so sweet of you. But at the moment, I simply cannot commit to this. Or at the moment, I simply don't have time. This was one of the most beautiful teachings for me several years ago when I read the book L'Art de la Simplicité from Dominique Lorion. And she shared from a Zen approach that, you know what, you don't have to explain everything. You can just say, thank you very much for the invitation, but at the moment I don't have time. What you can do now as a next step is to give an alternative. Say, you know what, I love to meet you right now. It doesn't suit me until the end of the month. Why don't we set up an appointment next month and we just go for a cup of tea, just you and I. So that's a nice alternative. Also make sure you personalize your statements and to say, I need to prioritize self-care right now. I have a beautiful story with a client of mine. Her name is Julia, and I'm so proud of her. She came to me, and we really want to establish back her daily yoga routine in the morning. And I said to her, just explain to your child, he was a toddler then, really small, that you need time for your personal practice in the morning, your mama yoga time, and that afterwards you'll be with him the whole day. A few weeks later, she came back all beaming and said, Rina, I did it, I made it, I succeeded. I do now yoga every time, every day in the morning, first thing. I explained it to my boy and he's okay with it. Even later, a few months later, she said, you know, I have something so beautiful to tell you. Guess what? Yesterday, my boy came to me and he said, you know, mommy, you love me and I love you and we will always be together, just you and I. The only time we are not together is when you do yoga, and this is your mama yogi time. And this just shows you the power of explaining to your children, but to everyone else, what you need and what you would like to do for yourself. And you'll be surprised how much other people respect you for that. And the last step is to create sustainable, regular habits, routines that feed you. So to really block off a short period of time to begin with, you know, in the morning and in the evening, and some slots between the day that are just reserved for you. These are pockets of sadhana that you can do to reconnect to yourself, to take care of your body, of your mind and your spirit. So start up with blocking time. Start off with 5, 10, 15 minutes in the morning to do some morning yoga, some morning meditation, some journaling, or just drinking a cup of tea and looking out of the window. In the evening, do the same. Close your door either once everyone is in bed or just when you come home before everyone else comes home. Take a journal, write down what's been beautiful about the day, what you're grateful for. Close your eyes, do a short meditation or for your breathing exercises. And what's really popular with my clients is to set a timer, maybe 3 times a day for 5 minutes, where you take a break, whatever you're doing. Again, you step outside, you go for a little walk, you recharge yourself, especially for lunch, taking a chunk of time to nourish yourself and then go back to work. So these are my 5 practical first steps that you can take to reclaim your time and energy and focus. And I'm going to go much more in detail with all these points and more in my upcoming Mama Wonderful one-on-one course, How to Regain Your Time, Energy and Focus as a Busy Mom. So stay tuned in, and I really invite you to sign into my Diary of the Mama Yogi newsletter community. You can go into the bio and click there to subscribe, or get my free starter toolkit, holistic toolkit, to become a part of my community, because next week there will be once in a lifetime opportunity to sign up for my Mama Wonderful 101 course, launching in January 2025, beginning in February, for half the price of the course value. So go ahead, sign in. I'm looking forward to see you more often, and I'm happy to share all the wisdom and experience I have with you and your loved ones, because everything you do for yourself, you also do for your family and for the beautiful goals you're pursuing. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.